All right, everyone, now it's time to talk about the one really big wild card actually in the 24 election. Things are stacking up to be fairly predictable overall. Donald Trump is running well ahead of the field. In fact, he's ticked up about a point in the aggregate in the last round of polling. He's 32 points ahead of DeSantis, who is additionally the only other person in the race with a double-digit margin. Although I would point out Vivek Ramaswamy, it looks like my prediction will come true very quickly that Ramaswamy is going to supplant Mike Pence for third place. Ramaswamy, based on his finesse, could actually end up supplanting DeSantis as well, which would be hilarious to me. If DeSantis ends up in third place, even temporarily in the polling aggregate, all the people that are pushing him so hard are going to go absolutely apeshit. It's going to be I'm sure there'll be some demoralization posting, well, clearly America doesn't want to win. It's got an orange con man as the front runner, and then this untested dude is in second place. It would actually show the weakness of their candidate, but they wouldn't be willing to admit it. Anyway, looking at that, you've got Trump on one end. Biden is effectively a shoo-in for renomination by the Democrats, so it's probably going to be Biden v. Trump. Again, a health issue or a massive scandal that blows up in Biden's face, or Trump being absolutely disqualified by an act of Congress, really the only thing that could change things up. And any of those things would cause so much chaos that it's worth it, because, the election would get 10 times more exciting overnight. Assuming that the normative, most likely situation unfolds, Trump is not disqualified. He might be running from house arrest in the Mar-a-Lago, which probably gives him an advantage at this point. Biden runs his barely campaigning campaign. He's apparently got 4 staffers at the moment, so he's really not running at all, partially because he's the incumbent, so he's expected to pretend to be doing work at least, so he can't always be out campaigning. Also, he's old and decrepit. He doesn't have the energy for it. He probably will run a no-see-him campaign. Hell, Trump might be forced to by being under house arrest at the time. That would be the ultimate bizarre election. The problem for Joe Biden is that when we look at the third-party postings, so Yang and his Nolabelers, that's basically his effort, Cornel West, the current Libertarian Field, and so forth, and a few others. Manchin is posited to possibly start a third-party bid, although I think he'd rather run as a Democrat. He would lose. Then we see if he takes his toys and goes home because he's out of a Senate career, or whether he decides to implode the Democratic Party by standing as an independent. If Manchin gets in, it's done. Trump is, or whoever the GOP nominee is, does win. Cornel West is a draw on left-wing voters. He's running for the Green Party. The Green Party in the United States, generally speaking, is not really worth bothering to consider. It pulls in a few tens of thousands of votes. Cornel West is the first nominee they've had in a long time that actually has name recognition. The closest you got before was first wave of Jill Stein, and that was because she decided to chain herself to a bulldozer to protest some oil project. Can't remember which one it was. In fact, it might have been Keystone. So hippie grandma, before Marianne Williamson gained that title, had a little name recognition. I think she ran again and basically disappeared. Nobody cared anymore by that point. Cornel West, though, a lot of people know who he is. Now, I can't respect his economic views. He's a fake intellectual. I wouldn't vote for him, and I think it's laughable that he has supporters. But it's good to see that leftoids actually might vote for him. All you need are a couple 100,000 leftoids that are generally under the Big Tent Dem umbrella to fly ship to Cornel West to really hazard the ability of getting Biden reelected. It won't affect you in, Wyoming. It doesn't have an effect in a deep blue state you're fated to win anyway. And that's the other thing I would say in the terms of the far left. The Dems should worry less about a Cornel West than about a no-labeler, a Manchin independent run, or something like that. Because leftists tend to be concentrated in a handful of big cities, often in states where the city voting-wise predominates, like Illinois with Chicago, California with the cities there, San Francisco, LA. Well, it doesn't matter if those people vote third party. The state's going to go 20 points for Biden anyway. If Biden were in a goddamn coffin on election day, he would still be getting electoral votes from the far blue states. They are incapable of change. The same is true of far red states. What you have to worry about are about a dozen competitive states. Cornel West would draw some votes in urban areas. That would hurt you most, I think, in Nevada over anywhere else. Again, predominant city, does have a lot of leftists, but not a huge population overall, very much swing, counterbalanced by extremely red rural areas in the state. Yes, you could lose there by 10,000 points because Cornel West exists. That would be very funny, by the way. Donald Trump wins by one state, and it's a state disproportionately impacted by the far-left voters flying the coop and deciding not to stand with Biden. Biden can't stand on his own, you see, so he needs a lot of people behind him still able to be bipedal. But the real risk is the no-labelers, and that's what they're freaking out about here. Oh my God, please don't run a candidate. They've already pledged to if it's Biden v. Trump, you're not going to get your way. That candidate, like as not, is probably going to be a neoliberal. It's going to be an interesting, it might be someone like a Tulsi Gabbard could probably get in there as a no-labeler. I don't think that she will. It's possible. That might rob actually from Trump disproportionately, so we'll keep an eye out for that. It's more likely to be somebody like Andrew Yang, though. It's more likely to be basically his guy. I don't think it'll be Yang himself. He's more the business end of the thing, promoting it and getting people interested in the concept that we should have more than two parties, God damn it, even though the two parties do, with their broad umbrella approach, actually function similarly to the European design of partyism. In Europe, you'll get 20 parties, but they form coalitions. The Republican and Democratic Party are basically just permanent coalitions. That's all they are, and they're malleable. They kick out members, they absorb new members, they absorb new ideas, discard old ones. Well, the Democrats haven't discarded an old idea in a long time, except that they decided belatedly that they were in favor of gay rights back in the 90s. Before that was just the libertarians, ironically. Biden enthusiasts are terrified, though, because right now Trump is running ahead of where he was in 2016. There's the risk that he actually is under house arrest and gets a political boost from that. There's a risk that Biden croaks, and therefore they've got a non-incumbent running, probably Kamala Harris, which would be a disaster. If it gets too late in the game and Biden can't do it and clearly has to stand down, the nominee is Kamala Harris. And that would wreck you. You would lose. You could run against Jeb Bush and lose with Kamala Harris as your candidate. So they are running a great risk by having a geriatric dude who's melting away before our very eyes in the cognitive faculties arena. They're running a great risk of ending up with Kamala Harris as the de facto candidate, possibly causing a last-minute in-party struggle and possibly causing you to simply lose the election by a massive margin. It wouldn't. At that point, you'd be giving Trump the nomination, the election, and you would have to explain to the Democratic voters, funnily enough, why you allowed Orange Man, after he was found guilty of treason or something like that, to run for office and actually won. The Democrats would have the ultimate time explaining exactly what had occurred. Their own voters would probably riot. I have a feeling that there would be riots in a number of cities if a situation similar to that occurred. My best guess is that Trump is nominated. He is not put in a jail cell. Biden is nominated. He doesn't die before the election. Neither of them campaign as much, though. Trump will be mounting 3 or 4 significant legal battles while Biden is too old to campaign. The no-labelers and others will pour in because they'll scent blood, and it'll cause electoral chaos. And in the end, whoever loses, I think that my money is on Biden losing, although it's more than a year till the election, so we do have to sort of wait and see what the wind carries for us. We have to look at the economy, the economic data for an entire year, what margin the nominees win by, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That'll all play a role. My belief is that that'll happen. And then the no-labelers and Cornel West and other people will be blamed for the loss of our democracy or something to that effect, again, regardless of who ends up winning. The third parties aren't going to win. You're not going to have a libertarian president. The cat's attacking her sister again. You're not going to have a Green Party president. Leave her alone. Hey, leave her alone. You're not going to have a Green Party president or a no-labeler president or something like that. But they may disproportionately impact the race in a way that you haven't seen in many elections in modern U.S. history. That's about all. Peace out.